It's time for Hicks Picks. That's Long Island. Those are great defensemen, including our guy. That knowing smile, the Seacrest gene, timeless. We don't know how old you are. You've looked the same the whole time, and we love it. And he does deep dives. So when we talk about the top decors in the league, this is not something you just threw against a wall. You went after it. You're going to go 5 through 1. Take it away.
Yeah, well, I don't belong up there with those guys, but I can talk about them. And when I talked about this, or when I looked into it, puck moving is important, depth is important, defending is important. So it can be a mix of all those, and I'll go through them. At number 5, I think I'm going to surprise a lot of people, and I wouldn't have been saying this last year, Montreal Canadiens.
How about it?
Yeah, you look now, the addition of Noah Dobson, that's a big one, but it's the growth of players. Caden Gooley, so underrated. I love the way he plays the game, and Lane Hudson is now not just this rookie that everyone's talking about. Look for him to make a bigger and bigger and bigger impact. And Mike Matheson, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the National Hockey League. This guy plays 2 minutes on the kill. And then you go out through the rest of that decor, Carrier. I thought that was maybe the best addition undercover last year in the NHL. The trade for him, one thing that they all have in common, they all move the puck extremely well. And you can pick, Stu, between your 6 and 7, whether it's Struble, who they just re-signed, or a big presence in Jack a young guy who's going to get better and better. Are you surprised with Montreal at 5?
I really am. When I saw your top 5 picks, Montreal just exploded off the page on me. I'm really impressed by, it's funny, you kind of dive into the entire league with that sector in mind. You highlight teams you don't really think that that might come up. But I think wonderful pick. There aren't many decors in the business where you can kind of trot out, let me say it this way, that you're not bothered by either of your 3 pairs being out against top 6 on either side. That's something you can say of Montreal because they've got a little offensive upside on all 3 pairs, and they've got some shutdown ability, defensive soundness to all 3 pairs. Really understated.
You're staying in the Eastern Conference for number 4 towards our nation's capital.
Yeah, let's talk about the Washington Capitals. And I didn't think Jacob Chikrin was this good. I didn't think he'd fit in this well. We forgot about how good John Carlson is, removed from those days when he was regarded as one of the best. He missed a lot of time, or else we'd still be talking about how good he is. And then you add into the fact that Rasmus Sandin, he's found his way in the NHL. He's just a sound puck mover. Matt Roy was such a great addition a couple seasons ago. That contract looks so good. They obviously have really high regard for Faravari, and then you get a veteran guy in Ben Reeves. Like, it's a mix. That's not a group that jumps out at you. Go, what a great blue line it is. But you watch them play. They play a pretty firm game. They move the puck well. There's a reason why the Washington Capitals were so good last year. It's because they play a really good team hockey game. But for me, it starts on the back end with them. Just a really sound group.
And there's one element, the criteria you kind of use to look at these different decors. I would add this to the mix when I'm building a back end. Size. Give me some size. Because if you go back to the St. Louis Blues, Florida Panthers, the Vegas Golden Knights are another great example. Long, lanky, agile defenders, and Chikrin is, he's got all of that in spades. But this is a rather stout decor just in terms of their size, and I like them on both sides of the puck. They were really impressive. A big part of a season none of us saw coming in Washington last year.
That takes us to the top 3. We've arrived at number 3. Which team is it?
Well, it's the Dallas Stars for me. And could they be higher? Absolutely. But I'm talking about the left-handed defenseman there. You're going to see Lindell. I mean, he's been a two-way guy that just plays such a gritty game. I love the way that Finn plays. But look over to his right. That's another left-handed guy in Miro Heiskanen, one of the best defensemen in the NHL. And Thomas Harley, well, what happens when they get both of those guys in the same lineup and they're both healthy? If not for the injury to Heiskanen, I don't think we'd be understanding how good Harley is. I don't think he would have been on the Four Nations roster. I don't think he'd be a guy that's probably a shoo-in for the Canadian team at the Olympics this year. It's a top-heavy group. I'm not in love with the right side of the group, but at the same time, you do have a little bit of a stature, a little bit of strength with that group. I really like Dallas for so many reasons, but it's the 2 guys in particular, but they balance it out with some nice depth, and young Bichel is going to be maybe a force as well on the left side. So Dallas, for me, just top-heavy, but they deserve it so much. When we do the top 20 defensemen next week, there's two guys that are figured prominently in there, and it's the big two in Harley and Heiskanen.
Thomas Harley, a pair of 50-point seasons now to his credit, but I remember when he first stepped foot on NHL ice, he's taking a puck from behind his net, gaining the back of the net. He's getting up to about the hash marks. He's got a little space, but I saw a gear. He kicked into another gear, and it kind of, certain players just, you don't see that in them, and when you do see that in them, it kind of, it sets them apart. But this is a special young player. We haven't seen the full ceiling, I don't think, to this point. Good and getting better.
There is a time-honored saying, defense wins championships. Hicks at number 2.
Yeah, the Florida Panthers, and I don't know if this is the best coached group in the NHL or the most coachable group of defensemen in the NHL. This is a team award. I could gush about Gustav Forsling forever. They added Seth Jones last year when I thought maybe that would be a replacement for Ekblad. That's not the case. They go out and find Mikkola, just a classic Florida Panthers move to find someone. And Petrie's going to be this year's version of Nate Schmidt or Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a big guy that can just deliver it back there. But these guys play as a group of 6 and help their team play as a group of 5 on the attack better than anyone in the NHL. Maybe it's Paul Maurice or Sylvain Lefebvre who seems to have their defensemen up on the play, making it so hard for the other teams to break out of their own end. It's just suffocating teams. They all move the puck really well. They all defend extremely well. They all have great sticks. We talked about that size and that reach. They have all of it. This is a team award to me as far as how good this group is, because they just all play the exact same way, the way the Florida Panthers play, and that's what makes the Panthers, part of what makes the Panthers so good.
This group makes great sense at number 2, Hicks. I like where you've got them slotted. I'll focus on 2 pieces specifically. Forsling and Mikkola. You go back to 2 playoffs ago, the first championship for Florida. We were talking about these guys at different stretches during the playoffs. I mean, few people outside of the Florida market really knew who Mikkola and Forsling were. And they're having this kind of seesaw battle back and forth. Like, not that it was likely they would win the Conn Smythe, but they were having, Conn Smythe-worthy conversations around them. They were just that good on both sides of the puck. Remarkable.
All hail Kale. Number 1. Get him, Hicks.
This was the only one that was, should I say, easy for me. You've got the star power. You talk about getting out of your zone. Well, you got a cheat code in breakouts when it comes to Gerard, Taves, and Makar. And Taves, we've talked about how underrated he is, but that's one of the best D pairs, maybe the best D pair in the world. But then you add to that a Brent Burns and all the experience that he has, the ability to get more and more pucks through like you need it. And in Sam Belinsky, we're talking about a guy who's not Cale Makar light, but you see what he's able to do with the ice time that he gets, and it's extremely impressive. I just love the mix that they have, and Manson's one of these big, strong bodies. He's tough to play against. They've got depth. They can move the puck. They can all defend. Colorado, in my mind, has the best back end in the NHL.
Yeah, I think the top 4 speak for themselves, and you've done a great job of presenting all that. Brent Burns was a wonderful transaction for me. I'm surprised they're able to button him down for what they did, because I think this guy's going to be, he gives you a very viable third pair. I think he's going to be brilliant.